What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Madden 23 rebuild. Today we have the Houston Texans, and we're going to be picking up in the 2023 free agency period. Unfortunately, Madden doesn't work like real life, so I can't trade for Shaq Mason with a 6th round pick. Jimmy Ward is not in free agency in this. And who else was there? Chase Winovich signed with another team because he wasn't interested in the team. And so this is what our roster is going to look like. I wasn't able to make all the moves they made in real life, but I did bring in Noah Brown. And who else did I bring in? I think the other one wasn't as big a deal. Well, Sheldon Rankins is kind of a big deal. Best D-tackle on the team now. So I was able to come away with 2 of the real life signings they had. But aside from that, the roster is going to be, you know, Davis Mills, Damian Pierce, Brandon Cooks, and then Noah Brown is our number 2 now. But I'll probably start John Mechie over him, depending on how our draft goes. And then O.J. Howard is now gone. O-line definitely needs work. Of course, we have Laramie Tunsil, one of the best tackles in the league. But outside of that, you know, I mean, we have Kenyon Green, who he was an okay rookie, right? Like, he has some run blocking ability, and he has a star dev. Davis Mills, probably not the answer. We have the number 2 pick. Looking to take Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, one of those guys. Depending on who the Bears take at 1, because the Panthers don't have the number 1 pick in this. Brandon Cooks has been one of my favorite receivers for a while now. Last season just wasn't good. I don't know if it was the offensive scheme, Brandon Cooks taking a decline, or what it was, but I love Brandon Cooks. On the defensive side of the ball, a lot to not work with, but a lot to improve. Jalen Petrie, one of the best young safeties in the league, superstar dev, you love it. Same with Derek Stingley, and even though he's only star, he's still a really good player. Desmond King, I did just re-sign because they re-signed him in real life. And I tried to re-sign and sign these players to close to what their actual contracts were in real life. Christian Harris, decent linebacker. I mean, he's only a 68. That's kind of upsetting. He's actually a speed rusher type with 62 finesse, so he's just really athletic. Hopefully we can improve in a lot of spots in this draft. Alright, here we are in the 2023 draft with the Bears picking first, because this isn't completely just like real life. The Bears are going to take Tyree Wilson at pick number 1 though, and that is going to set us up perfectly to go take Bryce Young. And that's exactly who I'm going to take. I'm not even going to think about it. Bryce Young, new quarterback in Houston. Maybe I could trade Davis Mills and some picks to get Shaq Mason. Alright, we're going to send Davis Mills a current 3 and a future 3 for Shaq Mason. Not quite the immense value they got in real life trading a 6 for Shaq Mason and a 7. But it's not too bad. And we don't need Davis Mills anymore, and they need a quarterback, so it works out. CJ Stroud ended up dropping to the Titans. Anthony Richardson actually went before him to the Raiders, which not sure how realistic that's going to be, but you know. So I think we have too many holes to really take this pick at 12, and we're going to trade down with the Chargers here, who are offering us pick 22, pick 54, and pick 118 in this draft, and those are all going to be good spots to get us some good, hopefully starting pieces on this team. And here with pick 22, we're going to take Nolan Smith. We need an edge rusher, and this athletic freak is absolutely going to get it done for us, hopefully. I said absolutely, but then I said hopefully. Here at the top of the second, we're going to take Dan Henley, who will hopefully be our long-term answer at middle linebacker. Hidden Dev, love to see it. With pick 22 in the second round, we're going to snag Cedric Tillman, 6'3". Pretty athletic receiver out of Tennessee. Get another weapon out there for Bryce Young. Alright guys, here in the third round, we're going to take Sam Laporta to be our new tight end. 86 speed is pretty freaking good, I must say. Here at the top of the fourth, we're going to take J.L. Skinner. We do need a new safety alongside Jalen Petrie, and hopefully J.L. Skinner can fill that role. With pick 22 in the fourth round, we're going to take Emil Ekiyor here at right guard. May not be a starter for us, but at least it's depth. At the top of the fifth round, we're going to take Ivan Pace Jr. Going to be another linebacker for us. Don't know if he will start either, but does have the ability to. I mean, he does have That cowboy collar. Here in round 6, we're going to grab Dontavian Wicks, some depth at receiver. Going to be sending 2 6s and a 7 for a future 5 from the Bears. And with our final pick, I'm going to be drafting Habakkuk Baldonado. Some depth at edge. Alright, everybody, this is going to be the team going into the 2023 season. We have Bryce Young at quarterback now. I have Cedric Tillman at wide receiver 3. I know we have Noah Brown now, but he's going to be wide receiver 5. Nico Collins at 4, Mechie at 2, Cooks at 1. It's a weird room. Basically, everyone behind Cooks is like almost identical in stats. But I'd rather try and develop Tillman over Noah Brown since, you know, age. We have Tunzel and Shaq Mason on the O-line. AJ Cann is actually better than Kenyon Green, so I'm going to start him at guard. And then we have Britt and Titus Howard. And then I'm going to start Brevin Jordan over Sam Laporta. Brevin Jordan is just slightly better on his release. And that's really the deciding factor on that for me. Dayan Henley and Ivan Pace Jr. will be starting at linebacker spots. And then we have Christian Harris at the other one. JL Skinner is going to start at free safety over MJ Stewart. And we have Nolan Smith at left end, who did get a camp breakout, by the way, who got +3 speed and power. He isn't great at pass rushing at all, but that definitely helps him. And his speed can hopefully get him the numbers we need for him to get better. Alright, so 2 and 4, not the best, but this team isn't the best. It's 77 overall, we still have a lot of holes to fill, and we're only going to improve and get better. No one expected this team to be good this year. We just need to see something out of Bryce Young that is promising for the future. And here we have a lot of money, and we have a lot of people to re-sign. One of them being Laramie Tunzel, who is going to cost a lot. Hopefully this gets it done. We're probably going to have... Alright, that pays. That's work. Alright, he had no interest in the team, so I thought it was going to be more. Shaq Mason as well here. Ooh. Let me put this up to 6. Will this work for you, Shaq? He wants more. We're going to give him more. We have all the money we need. Sheldon Rankins, I would still bring back on a 1-year. If he accepts that. Length is bringing it down. I'll give him a 2-year. I'll give him a 2-year. And then we have actually, we don't even have a lot of people to re-sign. Titus Howard, he's 27. I could do a 2-year if he's willing to come back on something, maybe a little more money. That's fine. Steven Nilsson, I'm gonna let walk. He's 30 years old. He's gonna regress hard. 76 overall isn't enough for me to keep him around. Noah Brown, we have plenty of receivers now. I only brought him on because they did in real life. And now that we have, you know, Cedric Tillman, we have Dontavian Wicks, we have plenty of receivers, and we can always draft or trade for another one. Malik Collins, I'll probably bring back. Grenard, I'll probably bring back, especially since he has interest. Justin Britt, I'll let walk since he's 32. And the rest of these guys, maybe Christian Kirksey, but he's also 31, so probably not. Same with AJ Cann. Just a lot of old guys who are going to regress below 70, which I don't want to keep that around. And I'm going to see if I can make maybe some trades to improve this team here. Maybe one at least. Akeem Davis-Gaither was on the trade block, so we're going to be sending Christian Kirksey a 4 and a 5 to the Bengals for Davis-Gaither. Martin Emerson is also on the trade block, and with the acquisition of Davis-Gaither, Christian Harris is now going to be a backup. Roy Lopez is 3rd on the defensive tackle depth chart. I think this trade makes sense for us, and hopefully it makes sense for them as well. I know Christian Harris is a young, athletic linebacker, but I think it makes more sense to get Emerson to replace Steven Nelson than to keep Christian Harris as a backup. And now with the acquisition of Martin Emerson, we're going to be sending Steven Nelson to the Ravens for Patrick McCarry and a 7th round pick in the future. Alright, everyone we need back has now been re-signed, and we haven't lost since the midseason mark. And we have a lot of things going on this week. Alright, we got to break out QB though. I'm assuming Bryce Young came out as a superstar, right? Or did he come out as a star? I didn't even check. Oh, he's a superstar. So he has a chance to become an X Factor here in week 11. Love to see it. We also get a trench boost. Unfortunately, Bryce Young did not get his breakout, and we got our first loss. I think it's because I brought you guys back, though. Madden just knows I don't know how they knew that I brought you guys back, but I did. And they found out. They were like, yeah, we're not going to let this slide. And we didn't allow a sack, so I think that's what, 10k XP for the whole line? Heck yes, brother. So, of course we didn't make the playoffs, but a 7-10 finish is not bad for this rebuilding Texans team. Definitely an improvement, and we absolutely did better from the midseason mark on. Not to mention we were 3rd in pass yards per game and 3rd in defensive pass yards per game. I will absolutely take that. Let's go ahead and take a look at stats. Bryce Young balled out. 5,100 yards, 34 touchdowns. Picks are a little high, but coming into this Texans team, I'll take it. 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns for Dameon Pierce is pretty dang good. 1,410 for John Mechie. 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns for Brandon Cooks. 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns for Cedric Tillman. And almost 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns for Brevin Jordan. Pretty fire, if I do say so myself. However, sacks. Titus Howard allowed 11. Tunzel 6, Macari 3, Kenyon Green 1, because I moved him to center. And what was that? 0 for Shaq Mason. I'll take it. AJ Can, I ended up... Did I take him out of the starting lineup at some point? Yeah, I think I did, when I got Patrick Macari. And then I moved him to left guard. That is what happened. Then we had Henley and Davis Gaither over 100 tackles. I'm sure Davis Gaither got a lot of those with the Bengals, but that's beside the point. Tackle for loss, 17 for Rankins, 17 for Smith, 16 for Collins, 13 for Grenard. And sacks, 6 for Nolan Smith with 17 tackle for loss. I'll take it, considering what his attributes are. And then we had 11.5 for Grenard and 8.5 for Rankins as well. 4 picks for King, 3 for Stingley, 2 for Davis Gaither, 2 for Petrie, 1 for Henley, 1 for Emerson, 1 for Ivan Pace Jr. Ivan Pace was the second sub linebacker until we acquired Akeem Davis Gaither. And how was kicking? I'm probably just going to end up drafting a new kicker or sign one in free agency if there's a good one there. We have plenty of money and we don't have anyone else to re-sign going into free agency. But let's take a look at these yearly awards. Josh Allen wins MVP, Mike McCarthy Coach of the Year. We're in the AFC. Offensive Player of the Year, Joe Mixon. Von Miller, Defensive Player. Bryce Young does win Offensive Rookie, and Dan Henley, Defensive Rookie. So we made the right choices. Josh Allen, QB. Did we win anything aside from the Rookie of the Year awards? Does not look like it. That's okay, though. We still got 2 awards, and they're pretty dang big ones, if I do say so myself. Let's go take a look at DevUps. See if Bryce Young went up to X Factor. He did not. That's okay, though. We still have a superstar quarterback. And was Mechie already a star, or did he go up? I believe he went up. We do get Mechie up to a star. I believe, did I see Brevin Jordan also up to a star? If that happened, that's pretty dang big. Oh, baby. Love to see it. And then, Shaq Mason should have had a run for Offensive Lineman of the Year, but it's whatever. And Danian Henley up to a superstar. I'm going to assume he came out as a star. He did. Let's go. Love to see it. 2 of our top picks in the draft come out to be superstars. He didn't come out to be one, but you know what I'm saying. Nolan Smith, I believe, is up to a star, or he came out as a star. I wish he would have had better pass rushing attributes. He is up to 75 finesse now. He started below 70. Probably like 67 or so. But I'm okay with this. Oh, Ivan Pace also went up to star. Davis Gaither was also normal, so our whole linebacking core goes up a dev trait. That's pretty fantastic. Well, the Bengals end up winning the Super Bowl 28-23 over the Niners. I guess Davis Gaither was holding them down. Alright guys, we're going to be making 3 offers in free agency. Brandon Ayuk, Ed Oliver, and John Johnson. Ed Oliver has no interest in the team, but we need a new D tackle. In my opinion, I think we could really upgrade at the position, and we get all of our guys that we targeted. John Johnson is a huge upgrade at free safety. Brandon Ayuk is a huge upgrade at wide receiver. That'll move Brandon Cooks to wide receiver 2, and I'm sure Brandon Cooks has regressed, and Ed Oliver will jump in at DT1. Huge upgrades across the board. There were a lot of other guys in free agency I could have attempted to get, but realistically, I think this is a really good free agency class for the Texans. So we get Brandon Ayuk at wide receiver 1. We could go somewhere. Jedrick Wills was there on offensive line, but I think our offensive line is really solid as is. And I'm okay with leaving it how it is. Maybe we draft a new player in the first round, but probably not. But it's possible, you know. And then we have Rankins and Malik Collins behind Ed Oliver. Could use a new edge. Could use... I mean, honestly, what could we use? I like our linebacking core. They all just went up in dev trades. D-line is looking a lot better now. Could use a new edge, like I said. Could use something new on the O-line. Could use a new tight end. The tight ends in the free agency class were not great. I think Ayuk is a huge acquisition and a great weapon for Bryce Young. Alright guys, I went out, got us a new edge. Rashawn Gary. No one was offering on him, so I offered on him. And then the Giants offered on him, who already signed Nick Bosa. And I just couldn't let that happen. Couldn't let them have Gary and Bosa. And we needed a new edge, and we got it. Rashawn Gary is going to play our right end spot now over Grenard. If I wanted to, I probably could have signed Trayvon Diggs too, but to keep the realism in it, honestly, I didn't even really want to sign Rashawn Gary because of the realistic part of it. But I mean, with all the money the Texans have, I think it makes sense. I know we just signed Ed Oliver, but Mike Bailey looks like a freaking animal. A, power move, B, block shedding, elite speed, good strength, great excel. I think Mike Bailey's the guy here. He might not be as good as I thought he was going to be. But that's okay. Because hopefully this next pick is going to be a banger. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he's still there. He was round 1 to 2 talent, so he should still be there. But you never know with Madden. And he's gone. He was a freaky looking tight end. It's okay though. Brevin Jordan did really well last year, so I'm not super... I mean, I'm kind of upset, but that's okay. Because what I'm going to do here is probably trade down and acquire a pick next year. Because I don't think there's anything really drastic that we need here. We have receivers. But these tight ends are not going to be it. Let's see Brendan Schultz. Probably not, though. I mean, very athletic. He's pretty dang athletic, I will say. We are going to check that tight end after the draft, though, because I think he's going to be an animal. So we have Evan Reynolds here. Like, we could upgrade a little bit on the O-line if we wanted. He's athletic. He's got pretty good stats. B, pass block. B, run block. A, lead. A, awareness. I mean... yeah, we're going to go ahead and pick up a 1 and a 2 next year from the Vikings as well as a 6 this year. Okay, so honestly, not a bad draft. I took Donovan Mitchell in the second to be a backup strong safety, and I mean, 76 overall, he's the best player we drafted. Joey Nixon in the 5th was an absolute steal. I didn't think he was going to be that good, but comes out with hidden dev, 73 overall pass protector. If we ever need him, he's there. Got McCullers as a backup running back. Then we got kicker and punter. May look in free agency. They both have 88 kick power. But, you know, Mike Bailey being normal dev kind of hurts. But at least he doesn't have to start. But 80 power moves is pretty dang nice out the gate. I do want to check that tight end that got drafted, though. And I assume he's going to be a freak. He's a 75. Of course the Giants got him. Giants won everyone this year. Kenny McCollum, he is a normal dev, but 75 overall with 89 speed. Yeah, he's 92 spec catch, too. Sheesh. I'm pretty sure he had A medium and A deep, so 65 for A is pretty terrible. But he does have some decent traits. He looks pretty good. I'm not too upset that we didn't get him, though. Alright, guys, it's going to be the team for year 2. We got Brandon Ayuk at wide receiver 1 now, with Brandon Cooks and John Mechie behind him. Makari's left guard. We got our rookie Nixon behind him. And Spencer Burford is also a backup because I traded one of our D tackles, Malik Collins. We didn't need 4 of them, so I traded him for Burford and a 7th round pick just to, you know, do something with him. Outside of that, we got Rashawn Gary starting at right end, Ed Oliver at D tackle, John Johnson at free safety. And this looking like a pretty good team. I have Mike Bailey starting as a rush D tackle, but Rankins is going to start when we are in 4-3 formations. Well, at midseason we are balling out and we are 6-1, top of the division. didn't expect the 6-1 start, but I will absolutely take it. And then we have Brandon Cooks, who's 30 years old. I might bring him back on a 1 year if he'll be willing to do that. Desmond King, I would like to bring back. He's 29, superstar. Honestly, I'd give him a 2 year at this point if he accepts this. We get Desmond King back. We have 90 million left. Like, it's plenty of money. Makari is 27, not too old. I would do a 2 year. Would he 2 year, 5 million per year? And we get Makari back on that. I'll take it. Brevin Jordan has been a beast for us, honestly. He's a really good tight end. 4.2 per year gets us Brevin Jordan back. Nico Collins is like our 4th, 5th receiver option right now. I'm not sure if I want to bring him back. Landon Collins I signed a free agency. The rest of these guys are depth. I will sign Butker and Gillikin to long-term deals. I got them in free agency, and they're literally the best you're going to get. But outside of that, Brandon Cooks, I'm not sure. Since he's only a star, and we do have Mechie and Tillman, would he be willing something like this? Length is bringing it down? Of course it is. Alright, well, we'll just wait and see if you get a dev up then, buddy. Alright, we finished 11-6. Not bad, 83 overall. Our offense is the one that underperformed this season, though, for some reason. I would have thought they would have done just as good as last year, but not the case. And we lose to the Jets in the wildcard round, 26-21. That's okay. We still have plenty of time to get this team to the Super Bowl. Just wasn't this year. It's unfortunate, but we'll get to the Super Bowl, check out all the good stuff. I really don't know what caused Bryce Young to drop off, but 4,100 yards, 30 touchdowns, 18 picks. Big decline from last year. And all we did was add Ayuk. Honestly, and I mean 1,100 yards, 16 for Dameon Pierce. About the same, a little less on the yards. Brandon Cooks was in the slot this year. And then Ayuk had 802. 706 for Brevin Jordan. 603 for Mechie. I don't understand. Brandon Cooks was literally in the role that Mechie was last year. And that was the only thing that changed. Brandon Cooks balled out. Hopefully he gets a dev up. No one allowed more than 10 sacks. 10 tackles, yeah, okay. But yeah, not bad. Not a bad line. Output numbers. You know what I'm saying. Davis Gaither and Henley, both over 100 tackles. Tackle for loss, 19 for Nolan Smith, 13 for Ed Oliver, and 11 for Rashawn Gary. Mike Bailey with 13.5 sacks as our 3rd D tackle and only playing as the 2nd rush D tackle. Had a heck of a year. 11 sacks for Nolan Smith with 19 tackle for loss is also a really good year. Hopefully he just continues to develop and get better. Only 8.5 sacks from Gary and 7.5 from Ed Oliver, but that's fine. These are really good numbers all along the whole line, honestly. And then Rankins, 1 tackle for loss, 2 sacks is, I mean, he was there, right? He was there. 5 picks for Desmond King, 4 for John Johnson, 2 for Petrie, 2 for Davis Gaither, 1 for Henley, and 1 for Baldonado, who is an edge. Alright then. Butker, 22 for 25, love to see it. And Blake Gillikin is Blake Gillikin. MVP is Josh Allen. Brian Daboll wins Coach of the Year. I wonder if our lower offensive output has to do with our higher defensive output. So the offense didn't think they had to do as much because the defense did so well. It's possible. Offensive Rookie of the Year is Deontay Stanley. Defensive Rookie is Mike Bailey. Love to see that. Did we win any other awards? Brandon Cooks gets 2nd for Best Receiver. Hopefully his numbers were enough to, you know, get him a dev up. It would be nice, and I would definitely bring him back on a 2 year if he did get that dev up. I don't think he ever should have been dropped down to a star in the first place. He does go up to superstar, so I will try to bring him back on a 2 year deal. No one else goes up on offense. On defense, John Johnson goes up to X Factor. Desmond King goes up to X Factor. Nolan Smith goes up to Superstar. Got a lot of ballers out here now. Oh man. This defense is looking juicy. Only went for 2 players in free agency. Carlton Davis to just make our cornerback room a little bit better. And Ernest Jones as a depth middle linebacker piece, maybe even slide over to left out and start over Ivan Pace Jr. And for the third year in a row, we have the number 12 pick in the draft. It's not our pick, but wasn't our pick the first year either. So what do we really need? Maybe a receiver? Probably not though. Maybe a tight end? Probably not though. Brad Beckham? C catching is not great. Decent combine. Not someone I'd look to sign. Offensive line is great, even though our right tackle looks like it's our biggest need. We've been fine. Blocking has been really solid, honestly. And I don't think we need to change anything except maybe the playbook, but I'm going to go another year with the Texans playbook just to see. Because it's weird how we did really good with it the first year, and then this past year it was just awful. I did move Ernest Jones to left out, so that leaves us pretty much no holes on defense. I mean, Ivan Pace has done really well over there, but Ernest Jones is just a little better. And by a little, I mean by like 5 overall. He has better awareness and play rec, so hopefully that can lead to something better, even though our defense was really good last year. I don't see any huge needs for us at the moment. And it's going to come down to probably BPA. Rudy McKee looks pretty good. Even though he's solid across the board, actually. Actually went ahead and took Jonathan Trent, middle linebacker, at pick 12. If he's better than Ernest Jones, he could start over there at left out. You know, if not, we got more depth. And it's never a bad thing to have more depth. Alright, after Trent went ahead and drafted Max Elam, left guard. We might end up losing Shaq Mason sooner rather than later, so never bad to have extra linemen to fill that role. And Shaq Collins, new backup running back. We haven't had a solid one in a while. And now we have Shaq Collins to back up Dameon Pierce. And then, of course, Jonathan Trent does come out to be normal dev, but 74 overall. Probably still going to be a backup to Ernest Jones, or, you know, he'll be backup somewhere. But, you know, he's decently athletic with 91 speed. I say decently, but he's really athletic. Shaq Collins is actually hidden dev, and he's a power back with 92 speed. Yeah, dude's a freak, but he's not going to start over Dameon Pierce. And then I simmed out the rest, and I guess the CPU just drafted a bunch of backup garbage depth. And Dameon Pierce wants to mentor our new running back Shaq, and we're going to do long term, so he's going to get an extra dev up. So if he came out as a star, he's going to be a superstar. If he came out as a superstar, we got ourselves a backup X Factor. If he's an X Factor, he may as well start. Honestly, he's about to be a higher dev trait than Dameon Pierce, which is kind of ridiculous. No matter what he gets, because he was already hidden dev. And Dameon Pierce is only a star. Yeah, I'm sure he has really impressed you. Are you trying to lose your job, bro? 10,000 XP. I guess I didn't want to give him another dev up. I mean, I'll take 10,000 XP though. That's fine. Alright guys, year 3 is basically the same roster. We have Shaq Collins as a backup running back now. And on defense, I mean, we add Ernest Jones to left out, so that's a little bit of an upgrade. We downgrade at dev trait, but we upgrade overall. And then Bailey's going to be our new DT2. He is now better than Sheldon Rankins, so I'll take it. And we have Carlton Davis at CB1. Emerson drops to CB4, and that is A-OK with me. Well, 0-6 is pretty unexpected at midseason. We're probably going to be changing playbooks for the rest of the season to see what happens. As for re-signings, we do have Dameon Pierce. Doesn't want anything crazy and has interest in the team. 6.5 per year. I am absolutely okay with that. Shaq Mason, 85 overall, star, still wants to come back. I mean, he doesn't want to come back, but he wants to play still. I'll bring him back. He wants more, I'll give him more. He's Shaq Mason. We still have 78 million. We have Ed Oliver here. 2-year. I'll give him a 3-year. How about that? Bump this up to 5. Bump this up to 7. It's 12 per year. No, he wants more. Alright. Alrighty then, brother. Jalen Petrie, definitely want him back. He wants 3 years. I can do that. We got to bump this up more because no one has interest in the team because we are not winning. Very unfortunate. Derek Stingley, John Mechie, Emerson, Kenyon Green. We have a lot of players to re-sign. I'll probably let Burford walk. Oh boy, we got Derek Stingley here. 5-year. He at least has interest in the team. And we get Stingley back on a very friendly deal. Next we have John Mechie. 79 overall star, has interest in the team. Shouldn't be too expensive. I'll bump that up to 3. 4.2 per year, and we get John Mechie back on a very friendly deal as well. Next, we have to wait till next week. We're going to try out the Atlanta playbook and see how that goes. Clearly, playbook was the problem because we finished the season 9-8 and make the wild card round. We started 0-6, mind you. That means we finished 9-2. Kind of wonder what it would have been like if we started the season with the Falcons playbook. But we're going to hop in here, get into Super Sim, see if we can take down the Chiefs in the wildcard round. And let's get into it. See how this goes. We take we don't take a lead. 7-0 Chiefs in the second quarter. 7-7 tie game in the second. Chiefs take 14-7 lead in the second quarter. Going into halftime, we're down 14-7. Chiefs are going to make it a 17-7, 20-7 lead in the third. In the fourth quarter, we get a touchdown, and we take the lead 21-20 in the fourth quarter. Chiefs go down, take a lead 28-21, and we take a second touchdown to tie it. And I guess the Chiefs are going to come away with the win here in overtime. Not a bad outcome. Could have been better. Next year, hopefully, will be better. Playing a whole season under a new playbook. So Bryce Young went off the second half of the season. 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, 24 picks. Picks are still high. 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns for Dameon Pierce. Shaq Collins had 8 touchdowns for himself. Receiving 1,614 for Ayuk. He was in the slot this year and number 1. Brevin Jordan 910 in the Atlanta scheme. Makes sense. Not in real life, but in Madden. Brandon Cooks 900 yards, 5 touchdowns. 900 yards and 3 touchdowns for John Mechie. Blocking, how'd y'all do? Titus Howard allowed 12, but the rest of the line was pretty freaking awesome. Defensively, only player over 100 tackles was Akeem Davis-Gaither. Tackle for loss, we had 16 for Oliver, 14 for Gary, and 11 for Mike Bailey. Sacks, we had 15 for Rashawn Gary, and everyone else was just not really existent. There were only 5 players that registered sacks at all. That's kind of ridiculous. As for picks, 5 for Desmond King, 4 for Carlton Davis, 3 for Henley, not Hensley, 2 for Davis-Gaither, and 2 for Stingley. It wasn't very spread out this year. It was just like between 5 players for sacks and 5 players for picks. All right then. Harrison Butker was not great this year, but Gillikin did his thing. Josh Allen wins MVP again. Brian Daboll wins Coach of the Year again. We would see Bryce Young on some of these awards if he didn't throw so many picks. Brandon Ayuk is 7th for Offensive Player of the Year. Rashawn Gary is 6th for Defensive Player. Don't expect any rookies. Don't really expect anything except maybe receiver, but we came in 2nd as always. And we win no awards this year. Love to see it. Hopefully Ayuk goes up to Superstar though with the season that he had. And Ayuk does go up to Superstar. Brevin Jordan also goes up to Superstar. You'd love to see that. Absolutely. Dameon Pierce, it'd be nice to see him go up. Shaq Collins, X Factor. And that must be why he did not get a dev up from his mentorship. But we have a decision to make now. I did re-sign Dameon Pierce. But Shaq Collins is an X Factor. This is an interesting development. Very interesting. We have a decision to make. On the defensive side of the ball, anyone go up? Anyone at all? I don't believe so. I believe everyone has stayed the same on defense. And it makes sense because no one really did anything crazy except for Rashawn Gary and Desmond King, who are already X Factors. But We build off of a playoff berth and a great second half of the season. And we'll head into year 4 to see what we can do with this momentum. As the Chiefs win the Super Bowl yet again, 24-6 over the Packers. Went ahead and signed Orlando Brown to a 2-year deal. He's going to play right tackle over Titus Howard. And we're going to have Daxton Hill as backup free safety if John Johnson decides he wants to, you know, get old. Which he is getting up there. But Daxton Hill was here for really cheap as a superstar. Obviously got to take that. I know it's a realistic rebuild. I know. But why not? He had no one else offering on him. I also could have gone for Chris Olave. I felt like Orlando Brown was a bigger need, a bigger acquisition for us than Chris Olave was going to be. We still have Brandon Cooks for another year. John Mechie's up to an 81 overall. Hopefully there's another receiver there next year when we get rid of Brandon Cooks. If not, we're still in good position. We're still fine. I did just re-sign Titus Howard, but he's also... Actually, no, I didn't just re-sign him. He should be coming up on the end of his contract. And we now bring in Orlando Brown. Yep, this will be his final year. And now we have Orlando Brown for this year and next year. A lot more money, but a lot more skill set. We're actually going to go ahead and draft Will Carson, wide receiver, at pick 19, 6'3", playmaker. With good speed, great strength, great excel, good agility. He's really good athletically and has pretty dang good attributes as well. This could be our Brandon Cooks replacement. He is wearing number 12, Brandon Cooks' old number. So you never know. We're going to draft ourselves another linebacker here with pick 23. A awareness, A play rec, B block shedding, B pursuit. Elite speed, good strength, elite change of direction. I think this dude could be a stud. If not, we have more depth at linebacker, which we have plenty of really solid depth at linebacker. Why not add some more? Overall, a really solid draft. Will Carson comes out to be a 75 overall. And he does have hidden depth. And he does have really good attributes. We will take that. Every day of the week, Sal Rosenberg comes out to be a 74 overall. Normal dev, but as I said, depth. And we always need more depth. Cassius Hicks, I took next. He's going to be our third D tackle now. Really good. I mean, 80 block shedding, 72 power moves, 96 strength with, the +4 boost, but not bad. And then I took another depth lineman, Tom Chandler. Another one of those hidden dev, really solid 3 to 4 guys. And then I took Deacon Bush, and I simmed out the rest. The CPU took the rest. Deacon Bush did have a hidden dev. We let Emerson walk, so I figured why not grab someone who looked they could be decent. For year 4, I am going to start Shaq Collins at running back over Dameon Pierce. I'm going to keep Dameon Pierce for now. We're going to go through the first half of the season. If Shaq Collins does well, maybe we trade Dameon Pierce away. I just want to have him there for insurance if Collins just doesn't pan out well. We now have Orlando Brown at right tackle. Brevin Jordan's a superstar. Cooks is a superstar. Ayuk's a superstar. Bryce Young's a superstar. All these superstars. We got Collins, the X Factor. Offense should be balling in the Atlanta scheme now. On the defensive side of the ball, we have no changes. Actually, it's the same exact defense except for Daxton Hill is now our backup strong safety. Backup free safety, strong safety. He'll see the field. And then Cassius Hicks, new third D tackle. At midseason, we were 5-1. Absolutely, we'll take that record. Jaguars are right on our tail at 5-2, though. Don't like to see that. We do have to pay Bryce Young this year. He's going to be a hefty penny, and we're gonna pay him, obviously. But we're gonna see if he takes this, and if we have to give him more, we will. We get Bryce Young back. I thought I'd have to throw even more at him, but that works out. All right, we still have plenty of money, and Carlton Davis is here. I think he'll take that. Honestly, he'll take this 1 year. Pretty decent deal. Shaq Mason still wants to play. Still doesn't want to be here, though. Understandable. We're not really winning what we need to win. But if he wants to come back on this 1 year deal, I'll keep Shaq Mason for a year. Nolan Smith is here. We definitely want to bring him back. Definitely more than a 2, though. I'll give him a 4 year. Bump this up to 5.5. And we get Nolan Smith back. We're down to 28 million, though. We have John Johnson, Dan Handley. Oh, gosh. We have a lot of players. We're going to have to let Brandon Cooks walk. For sure. John Johnson. We do have Daxton Hill. We could let John Johnson walk. Dan Henley is someone I definitely want back though. 3 years. Give him 4 per year and 2.3. What? That's how many years? I mean, I'll give you more years if you want it. Desmond King, 31 years old, 81 overall. I'm not sure. Makari, we have backups for him. We don't need Titus Howard. Grenard, we don't need. We don't need Tillman. We don't need Wicks. Ivan Pace, I would like to bring back. Same with Sam Laporta. They shouldn't be too expensive. But, you know, we're going to have to let some people walk. And that's just the unfortunate business of developing a team in the NFL. And for the 3rd straight season, we do make the playoffs at 11-6. We don't win the division, but we did sweep the Jaguars in the season series. So I'll take the season sweep over them. We're going to jump in here in the wildcard round against the Patriots, though. Hopefully we can get our first playoff win of this rebuild. Patriots jump out to an early 7-0 lead. They'll make it a 14-0 lead in the second quarter. We cut it to 14-7. They make it 21-7, 21-14. Going into halftime, they will be up 28-21. Tied 28-28 in the third quarter. Patriots take a 35-28 lead, 38-28, 38-35. And now we're going to jump in here, jump to the next play. See what we can do here. We give the ball back, and it looks like they're going to end it. Unfortunately, the Patriots kneel the ball down and take the victory 38-35 in the wildcard round. I think Bryce Young is just too aggressive. I mean, he did throw only 1 pick, and Mac Jones also threw 1 pick. So maybe not. Not the best game from Shaq Collins, 3.8 yard average. Jordan Addison is on the Patriots. And Brevin Jordan had a good game. Brandon Ayuk did as well. It was just, I mean, I don't know. Our defense is not playing as well as they should. Is that what that is? Because we only threw 1 pick. 35 points should be enough to win it, but we allowed 38. The defense was amazing the past 2 seasons. But this year, looking at the numbers, you can tell the defense just isn't playing as well as they have in the past. And that's not what you want to see going into your final year of a rebuild. Although we have seen improvements on the offense. Bryce Young, once again, top 3 in yards, 5,000 yards, 47 touchdowns, 14 picks. This was his best season by far. Rushing, only 980 yards for Shaq Collins. Maybe Dameon Pierce is the guy. So we'll go back to Dameon Pierce next season. Shaq Collins just didn't really do much. 3.6 average. I think it's because his break tackle isn't as high. But Ayuk over 1,000 with 17 touchdowns. Cooks over 1,000 with 6 touchdowns. Brevin Jordan over 1,000 with 8 touchdowns. John Mechie 808 touchdowns. Very good receiving numbers. Sacks, no one allowed 10 or more. Love to see that. Defensively, Davis Gaither only won over 100 solo tackles, but Henley and Stingley also had 100 total tackles. Tackle for loss, 14 for Gary, 13 for Oliver, 12 for Nolan Smith, and 12 for Mike Bailey. Sacks were way up this year, 18 for Gary, 11 for Bailey, 10 for Oliver, 8.5 for Nolan Smith. Not bad. 7 picks for Carlton Davis, 5 for Desmond King. I did bring Desmond King back on a 1-year. Jalen Petrie with 5 picks, 3 for Stingley, 2 for Jones, 1 for Gaither, 1 for Trent. Daxton Hill will be our starting free safety next year, and Deacon Bush got 1 pick as well. Harrison Butker was okay. I brought him back on a 1-year deal also. But let's go ahead and see if Bryce Young won MVP. He did not. He comes in 3rd, behind Lamar and Joe Burrow. Coach of the Year, Doug Peterson. Demeco Ryans in 3rd place. Offensive Player of the Year is Josh Jacobs. Brandon Ayuk at 6. I'm surprised Bryce Young's not even on the list. Defensive Player of the Year, Rashawn Gary at number 5. Offensive Rookies, nobody. Defensive Rookies, nobody. Unless we had someone way down here. Best QB, Bryce Young at 3. Best running back, I don't expect. We do win Best Receiver with Ayuk, so hopefully he's up to X Factor now. Best D lineman, Rashawn Gary's at number 3. Best linebackers, no. Best DB, we have Carlton Davis at 2. What did Denzel Ward do? Because Carlton Davis had 7 picks. We have Petrie and Desmond King on this list as well. I want to go see what Denzel Ward did. Real quickie. Denzel Ward had 8 picks. Makes sense. And for DevUps, we get Bryce Young up to an X Factor. We get Ayuk up to an X Factor. We get Brevin Jordan up to an X Factor. You love to see it. Dameon Pierce will be the starting running back going forward. And, you know, Mechie's up to an 82 overall. He'll be taking over Brandon Cook's role, and then Carson will take over Mechie's role. On the defensive side of the ball, Petrie is up to an X Factor. That is awesome because we're going to be losing John Johnson in X Factor. Daxton Hill is going to start over him, though, because he'll be gone, obviously. But aside from that, nothing else. And I think even with the loss of John Johnson, we're still going to be looking pretty good. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl yet again, 28-13 over the Giants this time. Well, Brandon Cooks ends up retiring anyway, so even if we did want to re-sign him and could, we wouldn't have anyway. It was a good career for Brandon Cooks. 13 years, I didn't know he played that long. That's crazy. Well, at this point, but still. Have a good life, Brandon Cooks. Have a nice retirement. So honestly, we could bring John Johnson back. 83 overall, 31 years old. Could I bring you back on a 1-year deal, John? He wants 2 years. We could, but we have Daxton Hill. Daxton Hill's very fast. Daxton Hill is going to be the guy. We're going to move on from John Johnson. Save our money. Let everyone else walk. I brought back Cedric Tillman. I brought back Ivan Pace Jr. Brought back Sam Laporta. Brought back some of those key guys that we drafted before. Have some depth around the team. So this is what the team looks like now. Desmond King has regressed a bit, but he'll be our third corner, so that's okay with Carlton Davis and Stingley starting. Then we have Daxton Hill at free safety. Everything else is the same on the defensive side. On offense, our whole offensive line is stars. We have Nixon taking over as guard. Shaq Mason went over to left guard for whatever reason. But Nixon is a fine replacement for Makari, and I'm okay with that. Pierce is going to start over Collins. And Bryce Young, need you to take us to the promised land, my dude. Let's go. This might actually be our Brandon Cooks replacement. Byron Barrett, I take in the first round with 98 speed. He looks like he is very good. B catch and traffic, B catch and B release. A deep route. Might be the guy. So we're actually going to make a massive trade here. I'm going to trade my second round pick, a future one, and Shaq Collins to the Bills for Tremaine Edmonds. Get us a new stellar outside linebacker who's going to play sub linebacker alongside Henley. Byron Barrett comes out to be a 76 overall. 81 release. 71 short, 71 mid, 79 deep. Absolutely going to take that. This is going to be the Houston Texans roster for our final season of the rebuild. Offensive line, as I said, we have Nixon coming in to take over for Makari at guard. We have X Factor Brevin Jordan. We have John Mechie at wide receiver 2, is up to an 82 now. We have Byron Barrett, who we just drafted. We have Will Carson behind him. Dameon Pierce will be our running back with the departure of Shaq. And on the defensive side of the ball, we now have Tremaine Edmonds at outside linebacker. Edmonds and Henley will be the sub linebackers. And Daxton Hill, free safety. We have Mitchell behind both safeties. And then Carlton Davis, Stingley, Desmond King. Should be a very good season for this Houston Texans team. And this is exactly what we want to see in our final year. 13-4, first round bye. Your Houston Texans are headed to the divisional round for the first time. And we'll be taking on the 10-7 Pittsburgh Steelers. First, let's go ahead and take a look at our season stats. 5,000 yards, 44 touchdowns, and 8 picks for Bryce Young. Lowest pick amount he's had this rebuild, and I love to see that. Rushing yards, 1,212 for Pierce. He's back. Receiving, 1,614 for Ayuk, 1,010 for Brevin Jordan, 1,006 for John Mechie, and 704 for Byron Barrett. Not bad at all. How was blocking? Pretty dang good, I gotta say. Joey Nixon only allowed 4 sacks. Defensively, no one was over 100 solo tackles, but Edmonds and Headley both over 100 total tackles. 17 for Gary for tackle for loss, 13 for Bailey, 12 for Nolan Smith, 11 for Ed Oliver. And sacks were pretty dang good. 15.5 for Gary, 13 for Ed Oliver, 8.5 for Mike Bailey, 7.5 for Nolan Smith, and then a couple here and there for a couple other guys. Picks, 3 for King, 3 for Davis, 2 for Henley, 2 for Edmonds, 2 for Stingley, 2 for Petrie, 1 for Daxton Hill, and 1 for Donovan Mitchell. pretty good season overall. Let's go ahead and take a look at yearly awards. MVP is Joe Burrow. Bryce Young at number 2, unfortunately. Demeco Ryans does win Coach of the Year. Love to see it. AFC Offensive Player of the Year is Josh Jacobs. Any Texans win any awards? Maybe receiver this year? Nope. Ayuk second, of course. We win no awards except for Coach of the Year with Demeco Ryans, which I'll take it. Honestly, I'll take it. Can the Houston Texans take advantage of their 4th straight playoff berth? In the first quarter, we are down 10-0. It's not looking good. Second quarter, 13-0. Texans need to do something. They got to get something going. It's 20-0 in the third quarter. They finally get a touchdown in the third. Get another field goal. Down 23-10 in the fourth quarter. It is 31-10. Things aren't looking good. Do want to jump in here and play a little bit with Bryce Young, though. This is probably going to be the end of the rebuild here, unfortunately. Good catch by Brevin Jordan down at the 2-yard line. We're going to hurry up here, get in here with a inside zone play. See if we can get it in here with Dameon Pierce. Get a little touchdown here, see if it'll boost the team to do something. And we're back in the sim. Can the defense make a play? They cannot. There's a huge touchdown there for the Steelers. This team is just not doing anything in this game. Are the Steelers that good? Is that what this is? You know, I'd like to come in and test everyone out without having a shaky screen. And, I mean, I have a good O-line. I have abilities on Bryce Young that give him better blocking, but Steelers were just all over it that play. And this is going to be the final play from me, probably. Assuming we don't get this. And whoever that corner is, I don't know how Barrett caught that, first of all, but whoever that dude's humongous, obviously. But, who is this? Who was that, number 48? I just want to know how he was keeping up with Barrett, first of all. Chris Peterson. I mean, he's fast. Dang, that dude is pretty fast, but he doesn't have 98 speed. What is this? By the way, this is, I mean, it's sim, but it's all pro. So, I don't know. That probably played into that catch happening. Throw this underneath to Mechie. Honestly, we built up a really good team here. And 4 straight playoff berths is nothing to scoff at. Just would have been nice to actually get a playoff win, you know? Look at Barrett, though. Dude's a stud. He probably should have got more involved this season. Probably too little too late, but we did get in there, see what, and the defense is just terrible right now. I don't know what's going on. But that's going to be the end of the rebuild. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!